Phoenix Raceway. Please give a big NASCAR welcome to Danielle Chilton. By day, she is a Chief Executive Officer of Desert Diamond Casinos, but today she is here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Take it away, Danielle.
Drivers, start your engines!
26 engines roaring to life down on pit road. 100 laps, 100 miles. The distance here in the final race of the 2025 ARCA Menards Series West season. There's a good look at cars on the grid and a packed infield here. Very busy few days here at Phoenix Raceway. Of course, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Corey Heim picking up the win and the championship here last night. A lot of drama, particularly late in that one here yesterday. Of course, the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the NASCAR Cup Series teams still in the infield here this weekend. We've got 26 teams locked and loaded, ready for action here in the ARCA Menards Series West season finale. Everybody getting some final adjustments and final words of encouragement. There's Derek Kraus. Good to have Derek back. 2019 ARCA Menards West champion back in the series, driving a second car for team owner David Smith. All right, cars just about set to roll off of pit road, so this is a good time to take a look at today's starting lineup. 26 cars set to go. Brent Cruz and Tristan McKee up on the front row. Look at this second row. Taylor Reimer in the number 25 car. Great qualifying run for her alongside Carson Brown in the Pinnacle Racing Group. Number 28, of course, that's the car that Brendan Queen drove here back in March. Coulda, woulda, shoulda maybe won that race. Was leading coming into the final set of corners before a nudge from Brent Cruz, but Carson in that car here today, starting outside row 2. Thomas Annunziata alongside Jade Evadizian there in row 3. Two-time NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series champion Connor Hall alongside Jake Finch back there in row 4. Leland Honeyman and Thad Moffitt back in row 5. Robbie Keneally, our Bounty Rookie of the Year, alongside Isabella Robusto in row 6. Take a look at the second page as cars have rolled from the grid. Monty Tipton in the Nascimento Motorsports number 4 alongside 2025 ARCA Menards Series West champion Trevor Huddleston. There's Kyle Keller trying to lock into second in the West Series standings alongside the 2019 Series champ Derek Kraus. Eric Johnson Jr. alongside another talented female driver, Kaylee Bryson, driving for Bruce Cook. Back there in row 9, Blake Lothian alongside Gavin Ray, round out the top 20. There's Cody Dennison alongside Andrew Chapman in row 11. Michael Maples and David Smith back in row 12. Both of these drivers needed to take provisionals back in row 13. Chase Howard in the Rise Motorsports number 31. Shane Backus, the Boilermaker, in car number 67. Round out the 26 cars set to go. 100 laps, 100 miles. Couple of cars are going to have to drop to the tail of the field for the green flag. Cody Dennison and Michael Maples both have to drop to the tail. Unapproved adjustments in impound as the field completes the first preliminary lap. We are located here in Avondale, Arizona, just outside Phoenix. This racetrack, 1 mile in length, opened back in 1964. We've been racing on this configuration since 2018. Of course, Brent Cruz won here in March. Connor Zilic, the winner of this race back in 2024. This could be one of the trouble spots on this racetrack. Used to be the front stretch. That reconfiguration flip-flopped the straightaways and the corners. There's the old start-finish line right there, but very narrow, as you can see, particularly on starts and restarts. And this section of the racetrack right here, going into turn 3, big trouble area last night in that NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. You see the tire marks right there, folks. A lot of drama late in the race down at this end of the racetrack, as we should see the lights out on the pace car. 1 to go at the start-finish line, so we will go racing. 100 laps, 100 miles. And Brent Cruz electing the outside lane for the restart, or excuse me, the initial start. Tristan McKee to the inside. Talked to Tristan earlier today. First time on a racetrack larger than a half mile in length. So don't really get the feeling of speed at this racetrack like you do on some of those faster half miles that he's been on, but certainly the biggest, fastest oval track that he has been on to this point in his career. Very talented young driver, as we mentioned earlier, won in his ARCA Menards Series debut at Watkins Glen International back in August. Mark Honkamp bringing the pace car down onto pit road off of turn 2. Brent Cruz bringing the field off of turn 4 to the green. It is time to rock, roll, and rumble for the final time. Green flag up, we are racing here in Phoenix. And everybody diving off the racing surface down onto the apron, side by side, down into turns 1 and 2. And let's see if we can all get back. Oh, we got a car in the wall off of turn 2 already. Jade Avedizian bounces off the outside wall. Was just about to say, hoping everybody can kind of filter down into some semblance of order down that tight backstretch, and Jade bounced it off the outside wall. She made some pretty significant contact with the outside wall there. A lot of damage to the right side of that car. Still green as we work down the backstretch one more time. Jade trying to keep that car up to speed, but she has got to be nervous, wondering if there's any damage to the suspension and any damage to the tires. Jade had just an absolutely phenomenal qualifying run here yesterday. Qualified 6th. Still trying to feel that race car out. There's a battle between teammates right there. Leland Honeyman in the 20, Thomas Annunziata in the 70. Both of these drivers will run in the ARCA Menards Series full-time next year for Nitro Motorsports. Leland Honeyman will take over that position. Connor Hall in the 24 car, trying to work his way to the inside. Taylor Reimer in the 25. Battle for third. Ooh, Reimer's in the outside wall off of turn 2. Doesn't look like she hit it as hard as Jade Avedizian did, but wow. How coincidental is that? 2 of our top female drivers, both of them started in the top 6, both of them in the wall off of turn 2 early in the going. Let's take a look at what happened. First with Jade Avedizian. Keep an eye on the 13 car. Top of the screen right there. Ooh, that is such hard contact. Jade able to continue on, as is Taylor Reimer. Taylor's given up a couple of positions on the racetrack. And I think that turn 2 zone could be another one of the trouble spots. I thought it was going to be right there going into turn 3, but it looks like turn 2 going to be Calamity Corner. At least it has been so far here in the first handful of laps of the Desert Diamond Casino West Valley 100. And let's see if we can take a look at what happened to Taylor Reimer. in that number 25 Buzzballs Toyota, coming off of turn 2 just a couple of laps ago. As we wait on that replay, there's Isabella Robusto looking to the inside of Jake Finch in the number 15. Isabella in that Rafa Racing team, number 2, that team's debut race in the ARCA Menards Series platform. Team owner Kevin Conway expanding from the road racing world back into stock car racing. Of course, Kevin, veteran of the NASCAR Cup Series. And let's take a look at what indeed did happen to Taylor Reimer in the 25. The white and purple car just drifted up and slapped that outside wall. Almost the exact same spot that Jade Avedizian made contact. Much less damage to the side of that 25 car. Right now, Reimer holding on to the 7th position. Jade Avedizian, who started 6th, has drifted back. She is now 16th in the running order. There's a look at Taylor Reimer out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, driving for Nitro Motorsports. My pal Danny Johnson serving as crew chief. Taylor looking to put together an expanded attack in the ARCA Menards Series platform in 2026. Despite that grazing of the outside wall, Taylor having a pretty good run here in the early going. We saw her celebrating last night with her boyfriend Corey Heim. Loved seeing her climb inside the cockpit of that number 11 and gathering some what I think is going to be some pretty cool footage. They're going to look back on that footage years from now and be pretty stoked that she was able to gather some of that. But congratulations again go out to Corey Heim as we take a look at Brent Cruz in the number 18. Stretching out that advantage, 1.2 seconds the lead over Tristan McKee, Carson Brown, Connor Hall, Thomas Annunziata rounding out the top 5. There's the distance on the racetrack right there. Brent Cruz had a great race going last night in the number 1 truck for Tricon Garage. Transmission issues sideline. And there's a good look at Tristan McKee out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, driving for Spire Motorsports, team owner Jeff Dickerson. Shane Huffman overseeing the efforts on the number 77 car. And of course, this team went to victory lane at Watkins Glen International. Tristan at just 15 years, 6 days of age, the second youngest winner in ARCA Menards Series history, looking to back it up with his first career ARCA Menards West victory here today. He's got his work cut out for him. He's going to need to get up there and take it away from Brent Cruz. Brent, kind of the mile track master across the ARCA Menards Series platform. Doesn't matter whether it's dirt or pavement. If the track is 1 mile in length, Brent Cruz is going to be really strong. Won here back in March, won at Rockingham Speedway in April. Has dominated the dirt tracks the last couple of years. As the field streaming down the backstretch off into turns 3 and 4. There's Brent Cruz working down the backstretch, building on that advantage. Now 1.3 seconds over Tristan McKee. Female drivers going at it right there. Taylor Reimer in the 25, Isabella Robusto in the number 2. Of course, Isabella, a student enrolled at Arizona State University in the engineering program. I can vouch, I've seen her doing her homework. Does most of those classes remotely from her home in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Team owner Kevin Conway, crew chief, longtime ARCA Menards Series and NASCAR Truck Series veteran Jamie Jones. Finished 6th here at Phoenix Raceway in her West Series debut back a couple of years ago. Nearly picked up the win back on 4th of July weekend at the now defunct Irwindale Speedway. Last year was leading right up until about 20 laps to go. Had a right front tire go down. Knocked her out of the race. Taylor Reimer continuing to hold on to the 7th position, the battle for 7th and 8th on the racetrack right here. Of course, Taylor Reimer in the number 25 of that car, long owned by the Venerini family, Venerini Motorsports, now part of the Nitro Motorsports team. There's a good look at Carson Brown in the number 28, the Pinnacle Racing Group Chevrolet out of New London, North Carolina. Stephen Dawson, the crew chief. Of course, this is the car that Butterbean Brendan Queen drove to the ARCA Menards Series Championship here in 2025. This car very dominant, particularly on the super speedways. Carson looking to lock up the ASA Stars National Tour Rookie of the Year award next weekend down at the All-American 400 Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Here's a look at Thomas Annunziata in the number 70. Thomas sitting in the 5th position. He picked up his first career ARCA Menards Series win, Lime Rock Park, back in the month of July. It's one of the Nitro Motorsports entries. Shannon Rush, crew chief, on the number 70. Thomas sitting in the 5th position. Just in front of his teammate, Leland Honeyman there in the number 20. Leland has had a really solid run since he hopped behind the wheel of this number 20 car, knocking on the door of victory lane a handful of times. Scheduled to run the number 20 all season long in 2026. Of course, Leland out of Mooresville, North Carolina. Crew chief Glenn Parker overseeing the efforts on the number 20 team. Ooh, that car a little loose there coming off of turn 2. Oh, look at this scramble for position. We saw Tristan McKee all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack as he's starting to work their way through some of this slower traffic. There's Andrew Chapman in the 55, Jade Avedizian in the 13. Of course, Jade, you can see the battle scars on that number 13 car. She got up into the wall off of turn 2 right there on lap 2. And boy, that car has not been handling the way she wants it to or needs it to, and she's going to get together with Andrew Chapman there off of turn 2. She thought Chapman was going to want to dive all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. Nice save there by Andrew Chapman in the 55 car. It's just not the day that Jade Avedizian's been looking for. Let's take a look at that one more time. Down the backstretch, and you're going to see that big move as they come off of turns 3 and 4. Jade's going to drift up the racetrack, and she's going to want to hang a hard left and go down onto the apron, and Andrew Chapman right there. She didn't see him. And I'll tell you what, that save right there could be a good candidate for today's Reese's Sweet Move of the race. And right now, Jade Avedizian, she needs something sweet to happen to her. She has had a rough start here today. One of the most talented open wheel racers in the country right now. Jade, of course, I believe the 2023 Extreme Midget Series champion, driving for Keith Coons Motorsports, making the transition into pavement racing, pavement late models, and now ARCA Menards Series racing. Just not the start to the day that she was looking for, but she's got a big future in front of her. Don't forget, visit arcaracing.com Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern time to see who is crowned today's recent Sweet Move of the race winner. Chase Howard in the 31 there up the top side of the racetrack. That team has had an adventure just getting here. It looked to me like about a 1985-ish or so era Ford F-250 pulling an open trailer with that number 31 car on the back. Of course, team owner Tim Goulet, one of the more resourceful team owners in the garage area. Is look at Connor Hall all the way to the bottom side of the racetrack there in the number 24. Chase Howard had a really great performance with this team back at the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds over Labor Day weekend. There's Andrew Chapman in the 55 car, the second car out of the High Point Racing stable. Team owner Tim Huddleston, and West Coast race fans will recognize that name. Travis Thurkettle, crew chief. Gamer's had a pretty solid season in his limited run here in the ARCA Menards Series West. There's a couple of cars battling for position. Robbie Keneally going at it with Thad Moffitt in the number 46. Keneally way to the bottom side of the racetrack, and he is going to pick up that position from Thad Moffitt. The battle for 9th and 10th. Keneally, the 2025 ARCA Menards West Bounty Rookie of the Year. Started from the pole, dominated, led every lap on his way to victory at All-American Speedway back in September. This team has had a very solid year, both the number 1 and the number 71 of Kyle Keller. Jan's racing team owner Jan Qualkenbush, first full-time season as a team owner, at least with full-time drivers at the wheel. Look at Robbie's stats this season: 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 6.7 average finish. There's Leland Honeyman working his way through some of that slower traffic. Jade Avedizzi and Andrew Chapman, he is still lurking right there along with Jade as they continue this actually battle for the 20th and 21st position on the racetrack. Let's check in on the champion. There's Trevor Huddleston in the number 50. Huddleston sitting in the 11th position right now, just outside the top 10. Agoura Hills, California. He was kind of laughing with him earlier today. Not even 30 years old, and he's kind of seen as the seasoned veteran of the ARCA Menards Series West. He said, when did that happen? When did I get to be the old guy in this series? And I told him, I said, you never know when it happens, man. It's like the frog in the pot. You don't realize it until that water's too hot. But he was laughing about it. So I remember being one of those young guys looking up to the Derek Thorns of the world. And now I'm the guy that everybody's looking up to. And I said, well, you put yourself on the list of series champions, and those young guys will look up to you. And that's indeed what they do. 4 wins on the season for Trevor Huddleston. What a great year. And he has completed every lap but one. Approaching the halfway point here as we continue keeping an eye on Isabella Robusto there in the number 2. Don't forget, we've got a scheduled caution flag coming up at lap 50. Allow the teams to come on down and change tires, make any adjustments that they need to make. It's coming up in just about 15 laps or so. Brent Cruz continuing to lead the way. 2.4 seconds now the advantage over Tristan McKee in second. And at lap 50, we will have that 5-minute break coming up at lap 50. Just want to be clear, caution flag will come out. We'll have a 5-minute break for teams to change tires and make any adjustment. Gavin Ray in the number 6 going a lap down to Brent Cruz. Gavin in the second Jerry Pitts Racing entry. And there's the advantage. You see Tristan McKee right at the top of the screen there. There's Tristan, the black, blue, and yellow number 77. I think lap traffic kind of coming into play here. He is whittled down, was over 3 seconds, about 3.5 seconds the advantage a few laps ago, and Tristan has whittled it down to 2.4 seconds, but I think that's just because Brent Cruz kind of taking his time coming through some of this traffic. There's Derek Kraus in the 09, one lap off the pace. Derek back in the 15th position. Tristan McKee looking to run for the ARCA Menards Series East Championship in 2026. See him at all the races in the ARCA Menards Series that he's eligible to compete in as well. 13 cars still on the lead lap. Final car, the number 71, Kyle Keller, coming into today second in the ARCA Menards Series West Championship standings. Battle between teammates, not a battle for position, but a battle on the racetrack. There's Trevor Huddleston to the inside of Andrew Chapman. Trevor in the 11th position, Andrew Chapman sitting back in 20th. And I tell you folks, I don't know that I would have given you a nickel there when we got to lap 7 or 8. We had seen a couple of cars bounce off a turn, the wall there in turn 2. I don't know that I would have given you a nickel to think that we were going to get 40 consecutive laps of racing, but that's indeed what we have. Long stretch of green flag racing here as we approach the midway point. Field spread all the way around the racetrack here at Phoenix Raceway. Brent Cruz continuing to show the way. He has opened it back up. 3.1 seconds now the advantage. Carson Brown sitting in third. Connor Hall, Thomas Annunziata round out the top 5. Annunziata's got some company there. Leland Honeyman. They continue to wage war over the 5th position. Taylor Reimer, Robbie Keneally, Isabella Robusto, and Thad Moffitt round out the top 10. Trevor Huddleston and Jake Finch, now the 12 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Keller just going a lap down that time around. There's a look at Kyle Keller. First time we've seen him on screen so far today. Kyle has had just a phenomenal season for team owner Jan Qualkenbush. Brian Kaiser, the crew chief, coming into today second in the West Series point standings. Of course, he's gone to victory lane earlier this season as well. Talked to him earlier today, and he said, you know what, man, we have had a great year. You know, we had one really bad day. That, of course, last time out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Bull Ring. He said, I'm not going to let that put a damper on our season. We absolutely thought we had a shot to come out and contend for the championship, and we did. We had one bad day that kind of took us out of the running for it, but absolutely thrilled with the performance of that 71 team all season long, and hopefully he'll get a shot to come out here and contend for it again in 2026 as we continue to see Brent Cruz stretch it out. And we got another contender for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race coming up here. Brent Cruz taking some chances in traffic. Let's look at this. All the way down to the bottom side of the racetrack, stacking it up 3 wide with Shane Backus and Andrew Chapman. That could be a Reese's Sweet Move of the race contender right there for our race leader, Brent Cruz. Again, log on to arcaracing.com Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern, to see who is crowned today's Reese's Sweet Move of the race winner. Jake Finch looking like he could be the next driver to fall victim to race leader Brent Cruz. Brent setting just a torrid pace. Still 29.9 seconds that last time around. So we have just a couple of laps to go until we see the caution flag here for the midway break. There's a couple of teammates going at it. Blake Lothian in the 51 trying to catch up to Cody Dennison there in the 72. Lothian sitting 17th on the scoring sheet. Dennison back in 22nd, a couple of laps now. There's Thomas Annunziata trying to work his way through in the 70. Annunziata sitting back now in 6th. Lost that position to Leland Honeyman. Ooh, look at that 15 car. Awful sideways off of turn 2. Jake Finch trying to keep Brent Cruz behind him. Not going to make it work. Cruz going to slip past, put Jake Finch a lap down. So we come to the midway point and the caution flag coming out for the first time today. So halfway home, caution flag is out. Joe Contreras waving the caution flag and cross flags there. And knowing Joe, he's going to want double payment for that. So halfway home here in the Desert Diamond Casino West Valley 100. Brent Cruz has been living large and in charge right from the drop of the green. Started on the General Tire pole, led every lap so far in that Joe Gibbs Racing number 18. Had a 3.4 second advantage over Tristan McKee, Carson Brown, Connor Hall, and Leland Honeyman rounding out the top 5 here at the midway point. Looks like Jake Finch, despite going a lap down there, coming to the caution flag, he will pick up the free pass and rejoin the tail of the lead lap. So we'll bunch up behind the pace car, bring everybody down pit road, give them 5 minutes to change tires and make any adjustments they need to make. And we'll get set to go back green flag racing. And in the meantime, we're going to step away for a quick break. When we come back, we'll try to recap any pit stop action live here from Phoenix Raceway. Upcoming events live here on Flow Racing. The Florida Governor's Cup coming up at New Smyrna Speedway Friday and Saturday, November 14th and 15th. The Snowball Derby preview show coming up live from Five Flags Speedway on Saturday, November 22nd. And the big one, Snowball Derby, coming up December 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. All of it live right here on Flow Racing. And I'll tell you what, folks, I cannot wait for Snowball Derby season. We haven't even talked about the Chili Bowl, that one coming up in January. So lots of great short track racing coming up live here on Flow Racing. Teams going to work down on pit road. Tires coming off of the number 18 of Brent Cruz. Tires also coming off the 50 car of Trevor Huddleston. Trevor running just outside the top 10 as we went to the break. There is the guy that has been absolutely dominant so far here today. Dominated in qualifying yesterday, dominated the first 50 laps. Crew Chief Matt Ross overlooking things from the pit box there. Shane Huffman overseeing the efforts in the pit box directly behind the Spire Motorsports number 77 of Tristan McKee. There's Carson Brown in the number 28 car. Those cars, first, second, and third, all pitted nose to tail there on pit road. There's the two Jans Racing teammates. Kyle Keller to the right, Joey Keneally to the left. And of course, these teams get 5 minutes to change tires, add fuel, make any adjustments. as they finish up the work there on the Carson Brown automobile. Carson just finishing up a hunting trip in the state of Colorado before making the ride over here to Phoenix. And this team, I'll tell you what, this team has been waiting for this moment since lap 2. Jade Avedizian finally able to come on down pit road and effect repairs. There's Michael Munoz making the adjustment to the right rear of that car. Track bar and wedge adjustment. There's the blue paint after her scuff with the outside wall. And it looks like that right rear tire might be just a little askew on that 13 car. There's the battle scars on the 55 after Jade and Andrew Chapman came together, diving for the bottom side of the racetrack. So despite the fact that we went 50 consecutive green flag laps, we weren't without action in that first segment of the race. I think we're going to see a little more here as we close in on the finish. There's the two Shockwave teammates there, David Smith in the 05, and then the reverse paint scheme there for Derek Kraus in the 09. Derek, of course, the 2019 ARCA Menards West champion. Connor Hall in the 24, Sigma Performance Services team. Looks like that team has completed its work. Taylor Reimer's team patching up the damage to the right side of that automobile after she also fought the wall in the wall one there coming off at turn 2. Banging out the damage on the right rear quarter panel there for Jade Avedizian in the number 13. And I'll tell you, it just looks like that rear end may be knocked just a touch askew there on that 13 car. Let's take a look at the 15, or the 13 and the 55 coming together. Keep an eye on Jade. She's going to roll through turns 3 and 4, drift up the racetrack. She's going to want to cut the dog leg, and boom, right there. Andrew Chapman didn't know he was going to be right there, and they came together. So she's got battle scars on both sides of that number 13, the Central Coast Cabinets number 13. Team owner Kelly Souza going to head to Tulsa, Oklahoma for a little reality TV show coming up here next week. Said it's kind of a combination between The Apprentice and Survivor. Going to be pitching her race team as the business. So we'll have to follow up with her and see how that progresses. So very excited to be working with Jade Avedizian here, and I know it didn't start out the way they were wanting it to. Very high on Jade, one of the more talented young female drivers in the country right now. There's Eric Johnson Jr. in the number 5. Going to need a little push start to rejoin the field. We saw Eric earlier today in some of those highlights back from Tucson. Had a shot to win on the final lap. So many great moments and so many great races here in 2025. And I think we got 50 laps, add another one in that great race category. So the field rolling one more time behind the pace car. So we talked about it at the top of the show. This is the first opportunity we've had since then as we get set to come back to the restart. A couple of laps until we do get back to green flag racing. But right there, folks, you see that intersection between the start-finish line and the yellow line marking the inside of the racetrack. Cannot change lanes before you get to the start-finish line, and inevitably, it happens almost every race. We see somebody dive below that yellow line before they get to the start-finish line. So we'll keep a very close eye on that intersection between the yellow line and the start-finish line here on this upcoming restart. Have to stay in your lane before you get to the start-finish line. And everybody tempted to dive underneath that yellow line and get as much ground as they can down on the apron. Sometimes we see drivers get just a little too aggressive, so we'll see if we've got a good clean restart coming up. So we should see the 1 to go signal this time around. Brent Cruz scored as the leader, Tristan McKee in second, and indeed there is Joe Contreras with the 1 to go signal. The field will double up. We'll get set to go back. Green flag racing. We will have 45 laps to go. And again, Brent Cruz electing the high lane for the restart. Tristan McKee to his inside. Carson Brown and Connor Hall scheduled to go there in the second row. Teammates Leland Honeyman and Thomas Annunziata back in row 3. Taylor Reimer, Robbie Keneally in row 4. Thad Moffitt, Trevor Huddleston round out the top 10 as we get set to come back to green. Isabella Robusto and Jake Finch. The 12 cars on the lead lap. Jake Finch having to restart from the tail of the field. He was the free pass car for the first caution of the day, so he does have to restart at the tail of the field. As we're bunched up, as we get set to go back green flag racing, let's keep an eye on that yellow line coming back to the restart. Let's see what happens. Green flag back in the air. Brent Cruz leads him back to green. Field spreads out 3, 4, 5 wide down through the apron, down into turns 1 and 2. Cruz going to put the car back out in front. Ooh, we see some cars really close to that wall. There's Connor Hall and Thomas Annunziata racing for room down the backstretch. Things getting a little dicey on this restart. Robbie Keneally was all kinds of sideways off of turn 2 that time. Let's see what happens off of turn 2 this time. This is when it started to get dicey on the initial start of the race. Look at those teammates continuing to go at it. Leland Honeyman and Thomas Annunziata, they have gone at it just about every lap so far today. Honeyman again working his way past Annunziata. He will retake that position. Battle for 5th and 6th. And another Nitro Motorsports car right behind. Thad Moffitt in the 46 car in the mix. Annunziata trying to return the favor. He's now to the inside of Leland Honeyman. Great racing. Inside the top 10, battling for a spot in the top 5. Neither of these drivers wanting to give it up to their teammate. Annunziata, he's going to drift up a little slip and slide, dip and dive right here. Here comes Honeyman back to the inside. Not going to make it work. Annunziata going to retake the 5th position. Wow, some great racing right there between teammates. That could be right there, that crossover move. Another candidate for today's Reese's Sweet Move of the race. Log on to ARCARacing.com Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern time. See who is crowned today's Reese's Sweet Move of the race winner. See if Annunziata can close in on Connor Hall right there in the 24. Some damage on the nose of that 70 car, maybe some contact on that restart. Connor Hall had just an absolutely terrific debut race in that number 24 for team owner Joe Ferre last time out at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Second place finish. Got up and led a bunch of laps. Haven't seen anything officially announced, but wouldn't be surprised to see Connor Hall back behind the wheel of this car on a more regular basis in 2026. Connor out of Hampton, Virginia. Crew chief Tom Ackerman. Connor, a former Cars Tour late model stock car champion and a two-time Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series champion, national champion. A lot of talent behind the wheel of that 24 car. Seen working the steering wheel there off of turn 4, trying to keep Thomas Annunziata in the rear view mirror. There's Trevor Huddleston working his way back up onto the racing surface after shortcutting the dog leg there. He's going to work his way to the inside of Isabella Robusto. And Huddleston starting to come to life here a little bit. Spent most of the first half of the race just outside the top 10. Now working his way just inside the top 10. He's going to take over 9th on this restart here. And now set his sights on Robbie Keneally, next one. Up the windshield. There's Robbie just in front. Robbie Keneally looking to the inside of David Smith, trying to track down Thad Moffitt. Battle for 7th and 8th. Keneally strong here back in March. The only full-time West Series driver to finish in the top 10. That car really strong here yesterday in practice. And looking good here as we start to wind our way into the closing stages of the Desert Diamond Casino West Valley 100. Robbie Keneally trying to chase down Thad Moffitt. There may have been a little contact on the restart for the one car as well. Saw the white lettering rubbed off the left rear tire on that number 1 car as we check in on this 3-car battle, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Annunziata, Honeyman, and Moffitt going at it. Right behind Connor Hall there in the number 24. Hall going to go way to the bottom side of the racetrack. Interesting to see. A lot of drivers make that move on the start and restarts, and maybe even do it for a lap or two after a restart, but interesting to see Connor Hall continuing to go all the way to the bottom side of the racetrack. Don't know that it necessarily helped him right there, as Thomas Annunziata still in the tire tracks down the backstretch and into turns 3 and 4. Ooh, 24 car way loose there as he made the move inside of Shane Backus there in the 67. Still a long way to go. 33 laps, a long way to go here. A lot of racing yet to happen. As we check in on this battle between Thad Moffitt and Robbie Keneally. 7th and 8th up for grabs. Keneally closing in right on the back bumper of Thad Moffitt. And they've got Shane Backus right in their sights. Thad going to go to the low side. Robbie going to try to go even lower there through turns 1 and 2. And here comes Trevor Huddleston. Huddleston starting to track these two down. That 50 car really coming to life after the restart. Jeff Schrader making a big adjustment on that 50 car to get him right where he needs to be here in the closing stages. And I'll tell you what, that 50 car really starting to come to life. Don't know that he has got a car that's going to get up there and battle Brent Cruz for the win, but coming to life at the right time. There's a good look at Thad Moffitt in the 46. Driving for Nitro Motorsports, team owner Nick Tucker, Larry Balsitis, crew chief on the 46 car. And he has got some heat right now. Robbie Keneally looking to the inside off of turn 2. See what happens. It's going to get narrow right down here into turn 3. That inside wall comes up in a hurry. Keneally going to fall back in line and cool those tires, cool his jets, and make another run at it here. But here comes Trevor Huddleston in the 50 car. I saw an interesting stat earlier today. The last ARCA Menards Series West champion to win the season finale. Hard to believe it's been 24 years since the West champion won the final race of the season, all the way back in 2001, Brendan Gaughan. Like I said, I don't know that Trevor Huddleston's got the car that's going to get up there and battle for the win, at least up against Brent Cruz, but that car coming to life here at the right time, and definitely has a car that might be able to get up there and battle these two. And look at that, indeed. Back at Irwindale Speedway back in 2001. Of course, Brendan Gaughan using the West Series to launch himself up into a very successful career back in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Picked up a couple of wins in the NASCAR Xfinity Series as well. This battle for position continuing on. Thad Moffitt trying to keep Robbie Keneally at bay. 7th and 8th. We're now 3/4 of the way home. Just about 25 laps remaining, not only in the race, but in the season. The 2025 season coming to a close here today. Chase Howard in the 31 car, giving this battle for position plenty of room to the bottom side of the racetrack. And here comes Robbie Keneally. He's going to dive to the bottom side of the racetrack. Keneally with a great run down the front stretch through the dogleg and now off into turn 1. Can he drift up and snatch that spot? Indeed he does. Robbie Keneally moving up into 7th. Boy, he played his cards just right. Stayed patient, kept the tires cool, and used a little bit of lap traffic to his advantage. Robbie Keneally, the ARCA Menards West Rookie of the Year in 2025. Snatching that spot away from Thad Moffitt. Now inside the final 25 laps of the season. This battle for position getting a little separated on the racetrack. Connor Hall stretching out about a 5-car length advantage over Thomas Annunziata. Annunziata stretching out about a 5-car length advantage over Leland Honeyman there in the number 20. It's Cody Dennison in the 72 car drifting up the racetrack and giving Leland Honeyman plenty of racing room right there. Look at that. Annunziata chasing Connor Hall all the way down to the bottom side of the racetrack. They're going to try to split Kaylee Bryson there in the 17. And Bryson trying to figure out a way to get out of the way of this battle. Look at that. Close racing, close quarters. Thomas Annunziata using the 17 as a pick. He's going to take that spot. And here comes Connor Hall now back to the inside. Again, a little slip and slide, dip and dive through traffic. Great battle for position. Annunziata up to 4th, but Connor Hall not wanting to give it up without a fight. He's back to the inside, power sliding it off of turn 2. Annunziata going to hold on to 4th position right now, but I think Connor Hall, again, just kind of cooling his jets. He's going to want to make another run at it here off of turn 4. Little wiggle off of turn 4 for Connor Hall. They're going to both dive way to the bottom side of the racetrack. 4th and 5th up for grabs. Ooh, both of them getting sideways there down in turns 1 and 2. The intensity level starting to ratchet up here as we close in on the finish here in Phoenix. Annunziata using lap traffic to his advantage. Kaylee Bryson just trying to figure out a way to get out of the way right there as these cars are weaving in and out of traffic. As they work their way to the inside of David Smith down the backstretch. So Connor Hall now sitting back in the 5th position as he sees the 70 of Thomas Annunziata kind of drive off into the distance. They dip way down to the bottom side of the racetrack. There's Eric Johnson Jr. in the number 5. Eric back in the 18th position. And that number 5 Sherwin-Williams Toyota for Jerry Pitts Racing. Leland Honeyman, he's going to go away to the bottom side of the racetrack as he tries to track down now Connor Hall. Battle on for 5th and 6th. There's Trevor Huddleston. Huddleston's still working way to the bottom side through the dog leg there. And hey, big day not only for Trevor Huddleston in the number 50 team as he locks up the Drivers' Championship. His father Tim locks up the Owners' Championship. And congratulations go out to Ford picking up the 2025 ARCA Menards Series West Manufacturers Championship here today as well. So a big championship Saturday for this number 50 team. Said, you know, we got here last night and my dad got us an Airbnb, big house, all the team wanted to come and celebrate as the caution flag coming out for the 2nd time here today. We said we wanted to celebrate last night, but realized we had to come back to the racetrack today and get to business. But I have a feeling there's going to be a pretty big celebration once we get back to that house after the race today. And there is the reason for the caution flag. Eric Johnson Jr. just talked about him in the number 5. He got turned sideways there through turns 1 and 2. Doesn't look like he's made any contact with anything, so he will get the car pointed back in the right direction. So this sets us up for a sprint to the finish. Should have about 10 laps to go, give or take, once we do get back to green flag racing. And boy, the question will be, does Tristan McKee have anything to take it to Brent Cruz here on this restart? You know, the one thing that Trevor told me, kind of the proudest accomplishment he had this season. You know, he's got 4 wins, a couple of them at Kern County, Madera, the Bull Ring, at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So, but you know what? The accomplishment I think I'm the most proud of this season is the fact we didn't give up any points at all on the road courses. Last year, I kind of felt like I was in the way at the 2 road course races. This year, we were competitive on the road courses. We didn't give up any points either time. And I had a lot of fun doing it. As we take a look at the replay here, as Eric Johnson Jr. just getting a little sideways to the center of the corner there and spinning it down onto pit entrance. And that puts us under the caution flag for the 2nd time today. So Brent Cruz And I will tell you what, I didn't even notice this as we had kind of gone through the field here a little bit on this long green flag run. Carson Brown actually sitting in second, locked and loaded for this restart. And again, these are the two cars that battled for the win here back in March. If you went back and hit the replay machine, Brendan Queen drove the 28 here in March, led the field back to green on an overtime restart, and coming to the checkered flag, Brent moved him up the racetrack a little bit. Now, I know Carson wasn't in the seat for that one, but you know, that teams don't forget either. They're like Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy Spencer never forgets. Well, I'll tell you what, I guarantee you Steven Dawson hasn't forgotten that one. So we'll see what happens here on this restart. Carson Brown will line up alongside on the front row. We'll have just inside of 10 laps to go for this restart. And that's what happens when you drive off to a 3+ second advantage. You don't check in at the front of the field very often. And as Brent Cruz was driving off into the distance, Carson Brown actually snuck past Tristan McKee to take over that second position. Thomas Annunziata up to fourth. Connor Hall rounding out the top 5. Leland Honeyman, Robbie Keneally, Trevor Huddleston, Isabella Robusto, and Jake Finch round out the top 10. Thad Moffitt and Taylor Reimer, the 12 cars now on the lead lap. So Kyle Keller, the first car off of the lead lap in the number 71. Kyle scored a couple of laps down to the leader, back in 13th position. So the field continuing to work behind the pace car. Lights still on, so we still have a couple of laps till we get back to green flag racing. So Carson Brown in the 28, not only is he driving the car that won here, or excuse me, was battling for the win here back in March, looking to lock up the ASA Stars National Tour Rookie of the Year award next weekend down at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Carson picked up a win in the ASA Stars National Tour earlier in the season at Madison International Speedway up in Wisconsin. Understanding he is looking to challenge for the ARCA Menards Series East Championship with this team in 2026. Here's the one-to-go signal from Joe Contreras up in the flag stand. So we'll come back to green flag racing with 8 laps to go. So the field going to double up, and no surprise, as he has done on the 2 previous starts and restarts, Brent Cruz to the top side of the racetrack. Carson Brown to his inside. Tristan McKee and Thomas Annunziata back there in row 2. Connor Hall, Leland Honeyman line up alongside in row 3. Robbie Keneally and Trevor Huddleston back in row 4. Isabella Robusto and Jake Finch in row 5. So 8 laps to settle it here at Phoenix Raceway. The 2 cars that battled for the win here in March on the front row, coming back to green. Little wiggle there for Carson Brown as he gets on the hammer. That's going to give Brent Cruz the advantage that he needs to dive to the bottom side of the racetrack. And look at the field scatter behind. Here comes Thomas Annunziata to the top side. Annunziata to second off of turn 2. Carson Brown, he's going to fight back to the inside, down the backstretch and into 3. That's exactly what Brent Cruz wants to see. He's going to stretch the advantage now off of turn 4. Tristan McKee going to give up a position on that restart to Thomas Annunziata. Annunziata still trying to track down Carson Brown. And it looks like Robbie Keneally and Leland Honeyman both able to work their way past Connor Hall in the 24. So Honeyman up into 5th. Keneally now into 6th. Great run for Robbie Keneally in the number 1 car. And look at this, Thad Moffitt. He's going to pick up a couple of positions on this restart. Moffitt now to the inside of Connor Hall. He will take 7th. Hall back to 8th. Ooh, Thad Moffitt very loose there through the center of turns 3 and 4. He's going to give that spot back up to Connor Hall. Here comes Jake Finch to the inside. Finch and Thad Moffitt side by side through turn 2. Trevor Huddleston lurking there as well. Now 5 laps to go, coming to 4 to go this time around. Thad Moffitt rolling the top side of the racetrack. Going to use that momentum to keep Jake Finch at bay. Moffitt in 8th, Finch in 9th. And here comes Isabella Robusto trying to look to the inside of Trevor Huddleston, the battle for 10th. Now 3 laps to go. Final 3 laps of the 2025 season. Brent Cruz stretching it out. 0.6 of a second now over Carson Brown in 2nd. Champion Trevor Huddleston trying to finish the season with a 11th top 10 finish. As we check in at the front of the field, Brent Cruz looking to sweep the season here at Phoenix Raceway. Carson Brown in the 28, about 10 car lengths back, down the backstretch and into turn 3, coming to the white flag. Final lap of the 2025 season now underway here at Phoenix. Cruz back up onto the racing surface into turns 1 and 2, hugging that yellow line. Down the backstretch for the final time. Carson Brown trying to close the gap into turns 3 and 4. He's not going to be able to do it. Off of turn 4, checkered flag waving. Brent Cruz will sweep the season here at Phoenix Raceway. Carson Brown coming home in 2nd. And there is the checkered flag to put the exclamation point on it for the final time. Trevor Huddleston, the 2025 ARCA Menards Series West champion. What a season for Trevor Huddleston. 4 wins, 10 top 5s, 11 top 10 finishes. And he is going to hoist the trophy and celebrate in Victory Lane as the 2025 ARCA Menards Series West champion. And look at this. He's going to burn it down. Another celebration for the mile track master, Brent Cruz. Went to Victory Lane here in March. He's going to do it again. Sweeping the season here at Phoenix Raceway. And just as it was back in March, the number 18 team, Brent Cruz, going to Victory Lane, just in front of the Pinnacle Racing Group number 28. Butterbean Brendan Queen finished second here in March. Carson Brown coming home second here this afternoon. I should say this morning, still morning for another 11 minutes. And Trevor Huddleston, the grizzled veteran of the ARCA Menards Series West, will hoist that championship trophy in victory lane. We saw the celebration of race winner Brent Cruz. Let's see what Trevor Huddleston has for the fans here at Phoenix Raceway. And this is the moment this team has waited for all season long. The championship flag being delivered. Trevor Huddleston officially celebrating as the champion. What an impressive smoke show for the fans here at Phoenix Raceway. First Brent Cruz and now Trevor Huddleston celebrating in style here at the start-finish line. I think he might have blown out that left rear tire there right at the end, folks. No surprise. And indeed he did. As Brent Cruz climbing out of the number 18 in victory lane. We'll send it downstairs to hear from our winner in victory lane.
Here in the desert with 2 wins. This race playing out a lot different than the one in the spring, that's for sure, as Brent Cruz will celebrate once again in victory lane, and even Coach Gibbs down here in victory lane as well to celebrate with his driver on a job well done. Well, March was a long time ago. Things played out a lot differently then, but Brent, what was the key to today? Just a dominant effort since the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, it helps when you have a super fast Mobile 1 Toyota Camry. That was a blast to drive all day. We've been loose all day. It's been super slimy, but these guys never stopped working on this thing. We were able to be fastest in practice, get the pole, and lead all the laps today. So just an honor to be here. I want to thank the good Lord above for keeping us safe, and having my dad here is cool, and coach in victory lane for the first time is a new one for me. But yeah, happy to be here and happy to have this amazing crowd, and just glad to be in victory lane.
Obviously, last night didn't go the way you wanted. Did that light the fire a little bit to go out here and just basically just whoop on the whole field?
Yeah, for sure. That helped having experience last night. It definitely hurt being able to restart for racing for the lead last night and break a transmission. But I'm glad we could do what we were supposed to do and put it in victory lane today.
You've hopped in and out of a lot of different race cars this year. What have you learned about yourself as a race car driver, adapting to different styles of racing, including this ARCA Menards Series machine?
Yeah, learning that I can do it, and just trusting in the Lord and His path that He has for me. It's not always going to be easy, and yeah, just never quitting. And I just want to say a huge thanks to this whole Joe Gibbs Racing crew for never giving up and keeping our stuff fast. And Trevor Bain and Blake for all they do for me prep-wise. They're the best in the business. So happy to be here, and thank you guys for coming.
Brent Cruz, the Valley of the Sun, it's shining down on this Toyota group as Joe Gibbs Racing and Brent Cruz win here in Phoenix.
Big day for Brent Cruz and that Joe Gibbs Racing team. Again, sweeping the season here at Phoenix Raceway. Did it back in March, doing it again here today. And certainly appreciate our friends at MRN, Chris Wilner, and everybody at MRN for sharing their Victory Lane interview with us here today, as we now await Trevor Huddleston joining us in Victory Lane as soon as Brent and crew wrap up. As as Chris said, vastly different strategies and ways to get to victory lane. Last lap pass for the win here in March, and he led all 100 laps here today. But the result is the same. Brent Crews back in victory lane here at Phoenix Raceway. Good looking trophy that he's going to get to take home with him. And I'll tell you what, he had a really good shot at perhaps keeping his teammate Corey Heim out of victory lane here yesterday before that transmission broke. We'll send it back downstairs to Chris Wilner as we get a word with our champion, Trevor Huddleston.
Well, thank you very much, Joe, and the celebration continues in Mobil 1 Victory Lane, and the celebration has begun for that man right there. The burnout has been concluded. He is out of the car, and team members, family, friends coming to celebrate with the champion. Let's go to the Motor Racing Network.
That was quite the celebration, but what was today like for you from start to finish? You knew you had the championship, but now you get to soak it in, right?
Yeah, now it's real, right? Before it was just a word. Now that I did the burnout, it solidifies it, and I kept true to my word. I said I was going to annihilate the tires, and they're gone. I don't know where they are. So, man, High Point Racing, Race Car Factory, Robert Chase Racing, everybody who was part of this group, man, is so special. So many people are involved. Like, I can't explain to you how much this means to us and our team. My crew chief, Jeff Schrader, man, we had great race cars every race we went to. This was the only engine we used all year long. We used it at road courses, small tracks. This thing thundered. Man, great package, great facility. I didn't want to ruin their paint, so I stayed up on the straightaway, but special moment, man.
I'm sure they appreciated it. I know I talked to your dad, too, before this, and this whole family operation, this means the world to get to do this. But you've had heartbreak the last couple of years, finishing close in the championship. Does it feel like the weight's finally been lifted?
Oh, no doubt. There's going to be a lot of beer drink tonight and a lot of partying. We got a big group of people. We're going to party Phoenix and look on till next year.
Yeah, I heard there's a pool party. Maybe we'll get the invite. Trevor Huddleston, your 2025 ARCA West Series champion.
Yeah, congratulations.
I am always down for a pool party. We'll have to track down Trevor Huddleston and crew afterwards as they celebrate. Look at that. There is no tire left on that left rear. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. Congratulations to Trevor Huddleston, Tim Huddleston, Jeff Schrader, that entire High Point Racing team on a fantastic 2025 season. 4 wins, 10 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and their first career West Series championship. The 43rd different driver to win a series championship in a history that dates all the way back to 1954. So a lot of history written over the years. Trevor Huddleston, the latest to add his name to that history here out on the West Coast. So congratulations go out to Trevor and that entire team on a historic season here in 2025. Folks, we do have to say thank you to some folks before we do get out of here today. A lot of people help bring you all of the racing action, and today was not a day that our folks at Low Budget TV were producing the pictures that you saw, but they did bring us 9 of the 12 races here out west, and I want to give all of those folks a shout out. Sarah Best, Elizabeth Medina, Arthur Meyer, Chaley Singthali, Corey Rubin, Connor Martucci, Rosano Garcia, Taylor Bo McCardle, Timothy Curtis, Zachary Culler, Jeffrey Best, and the main man out there, out here on the West Coast, Tommy Mason. Certainly appreciate everything that you guys have done for us here in 2025, and look forward to doing it again in 2026. Also want to send some thank yous to all the folks down at the NASCAR Production Center in Concord, North Carolina. I know it's not an ARCA Menards Series West race, but she helped us out quite a bit on the ARCA Menards Series East side. Hope Cutkiss, thank you for everything you did for us. Stephen DiLorenzo, Ryan Gavel, Christina Herrera. Thunder Images, Roger Vincent. Larry McMahon, Sarah Akins, High Speed Higgy, Andrew Higginbotham directing today. Good to work with you, Higgy. Amy Boschers, Heather Molander, Jordan Nemeth, Eliza Kosak, Quentin Marquis, Eric Keplinger, Melanie Judd, Will Adams. Will, you have worked us through many problems on the audio side here in 2025. Appreciate your hard work. Alex Uvarowski, Nick Strenstrom, Jim Napty, Mike Zylik, and a big shout out to my main man, my producer today, Lucas Kaler. Appreciate everything that everyone has done getting us on the air. And I'll tell you what, Lucas, it's been a long road since we crossed paths at the Indoor Karting Center up in Indianapolis a couple of years ago. So great to have you on board. Appreciate everybody and all of their hard efforts down at the NPF in Concord for all of their hard work here in 2025, and what do you say we all do it again in 2026? So Victory Lane continuing on for Brent Cruz. Trophy has been presented. He's going to go sign some autographs. We're going to get Trevor Huddleston in for a little trophy presentation as well. Congratulations go out to Brent Cruz and the entire Joe Gibbs Racing team, and Trevor Huddleston and the High Point Racing team, race winner and 2025 ARCA Menards Series West champions. Don't forget, folks, Flow Racing, your exclusive home for live coverage of the ARCA Menards Series East and West, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and select races all across the country in the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series. Appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much for coming along with us each and every week here in 2025. We look forward to doing it again in 2026. Until then, my name is Charlie Crawl. We'll do it again next year, folks. Until then, so long, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.